Hey everyone, well, welcome to Marketing Monday with the Watertown SBDC. I'm Nicole, your co-host, here with Erica Davis with the Watertown SBDC. Hey Erica, how's it going?
Hey Nicole, how you doing? Happy Monday.
Yeah, happy Monday. It's always a happy Monday when it's Marketing Monday. And today's topic, it's the last in our PR series. So if you're interested in PR for your business, you can go back and watch the past videos of this past month. And today's, like I said, final kind of topic to put the cherry on top is talking about reputation management. So I have a really good reputation management story that I want to share before we talk about like the principles of it. Is it okay if I tell a random story from the UK?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Love it.
Okay. So how there is a restaurant about the shed at Warwick, I believe. So I'm not playing the sound of the video so we can talk about it, but basically this guy decided to see if he could turn the shed at Dulwich into the top restaurant in London. Okay, so he lives outside of London and this is his backyard. And so he decides, he gets a phone, right, with a separate phone number. He makes a website and then he starts taking some dish examples. And as you see here, he's using some shaving cream, some toilet cleaning tablets to create this beautiful dish. So he takes all these pictures of food. He had to prop it up. And he starts, so his goal is getting to the top of TripAdvisor. So he needed to generate some reviews, right? Some convincing reviews. And so he starts like working it. He gets his friends to write reviews. And then he gets his first reservation request on his burner phone, right? And it turns into this whole, and then it starts getting a bit out of control. And it's like turns into this whole thing. And so he finally decides that he's going to open for one night only. And, like I said, this Vice documentary is great, but
that's just craziness.
Yeah. So the big night. So they open for one night only and he gets like, I don't know, instant soup from like down, I mean, cause he can't cook, right? Like he has a home kitchen. And so he basically turned his backyard with reviews. I guess he mowed his lawn. That's nice. And he turns it into a restaurant. So there's him buying the cup of soup.
Oh my gosh.
He turns it into a restaurant for one night only. And he even creates a rooftop experience for some people. So anyway, if you have 18 minutes and want to laugh really hard, I recommend this the Vice documentary.
Yeah. We don't recommend creating fake restaurants. However, it's an interesting exercise in creating a reputation online, right?
That's what I mean.
Out of nothing.
So the point is that if you want your business to be more successful, obviously you're not going to make up a business. You already have one if you're watching this. And so what we want to talk a little bit about today is just the reputation management of how to do this well and how you can make yourself more visible to customers. And if you want to be number one on TripAdvisor, how you can do that sort of thing. So I know, Erica, you've done reputation, like what's your experience with reputation management, either with your clients or in your own business in the past? Like what kind of things have you, I guess, explored or find interesting about this space before we talk about, I guess, ideas of how to do it?
Yeah. I guess the only thing I would really share right now is that, I mean, I'm really passionate about this subject because I think now, with the digital world and social media, it ought to be like top priority for everybody. Now, I think that there are, certain businesses that it matters more for, like restaurants or anything in the hospitality industry where, if they're not paying attention, to what's going on with the reviews and everything that we're going to be talking about today and managing all that really well, there's a really big likelihood that they're going to run into some issues, right? If that's not being paid attention to. So I just think it's an incredibly important piece of running a good business. And even if you're not a restaurant or in the hospitality industry, it's still important. It's important to have good reviews out there online now. It's important to pay attention to what people are saying about your business, super important. So,
yeah. And what we want is we want diversification, right? Like if, let's say that somebody wrote a really nice article about your business, 10 years ago or something. And that's like when someone looks you up, they have your website and that one really nice article from 10 years ago. Well, it's nice to have a rounded group of resources so people can hear you're great from multiple places. And it's nice to also have some things that are timely. So
yeah,
I know that you attended like a reputation management like workshop, and I've sort of had some experience. So we kind
right.
of pulled together what we learned into these little tips here. So
Yeah.
step one, claiming all your business on all review websites if you haven't done so already. And by the way, all these websites, obviously they have enhanced or paid listings, and that's fine. But for the most
And you're
part,
talking about like TripAdvisor, those kinds of websites.
Google, Yelp. And then some
Yelp,
of them are industry specific. Like I think there's one for restaurants called Urban Spoon. I don't know. Like there might be some that are more specific. I know, Angie's List or something might be more contractor sort of home services so besides the general ones, looking for industry specific ones, because here's the thing, you might already have a listing. Like if someone, I know sometimes my clients, not so much anymore, but years ago they'd be like, oh, I already have a Facebook page. And what it was the person went to the business and checked in, but there wasn't a Facebook page, so it auto created this empty Facebook page. Like I said, we don't run into that much anymore because it's 2022 and people have Facebook pages, and it's not, but back in like 2011, this was happening a lot more. So I will say that even if you go on these websites and if there's already a listing, don't panic. It just means that maybe somebody said that they ate at your, drank beer at your brewery or something, and they just, and that auto created a page. You can always tell because these pages have like no information. It's just like the name of the business and maybe the town it's in, but it's not like there's photos or any.
But again, you want to be aware of that, right? That's out there. Yeah.
So like if you go in and you already see a listing, don't panic. Just go ahead and claim the listing. And you can do that. Like I said, all of these websites have a free option that lets you go in and update your basic information. They might want you to pay to have an enhanced listing, but you don't need to do that. Even by doing this, what'll happen is your email will be associated with that business. And when someone leaves a review, you'll get a notification. Yeah. Like, oh, you have a new review, which is what you want. Like you want to know when people say something.
We're talking about you.
Yeah, exactly. So, and so, go ahead and claim them. It doesn't take long. Most of them ask for the same information. So, on a slow news day, you can just throw on some episodes of the Golden Girls and just claim some businesses on these review websites. Just and
we're going to be talking. Right. And we're going to be talking about negative reviews a little bit more, but it's, I still think, and I think this has maybe changed somewhat because people will make an effort like on Airbnb to write a positive review, because then that also makes them look better too, as far as an Airbnb guest as an example. But I still think the majority of the time, if somebody's going to go online to write a review, there's going to be a reason for it. And most often that reason is maybe going to be because they had an issue with the establishment or the business, So that's why you want to know about every single email or comment that somebody's making about you online. So,
And I will say as a former Airbnb superhost who had a very old house that I was managing as part of it, you can do a lot by being responsive and pleasant and accommodating. You can, you can overcome like a plumbing issue or something like that just by not being a responsive person and not being a total jerk about it.
And the timeliness of it too. I'm about to be an Airbnb host for the first time. So
nice. Well, it's fun. I've gotten, I think I've met probably close to 1,000 people came through the years that I did it. Yeah. And, it was a journey for sure. Maybe we could trade Airbnb stories sometime, but right. Claim your business on the review websites. If you don't have a listing, you can make one, or if there already is one, you can claim it one way or the other.
Awesome. Absolutely.
Yeah. And also gives you a free backlink to your website, which is good for search engine stuff, which I think we're going to be talking about in March. So
yes, more
stay tuned.
SEO and all that fun stuff.
Yeah. And our second tip is to respond to all reviews, whether they're positive or negative. And And in terms of, I think we have a little kind of tip on how to handle negative reviews, but just the idea of being responsive, like that you saw it,
Yeah.
is really important to people. It also shows that
Yeah.
if you're kind of paying attention, that you care, and
Yeah.
and that means
Acknowledging your customers because they went on, and made that effort, good or bad, good, bad, and ugly. Yeah.
right. And if they took the time to
Hmm.
leave a review, right, it's nice for you to acknowledge that. And when people see that acknowledgement, they're more likely to leave reviews in the future. So
Yeah.
that's great. And this idea of regularly soliciting reviews from your customers, I have a guy I'm in a business group with. It's kind of interesting. He has a sort of a consultancy type, like he does services for people. And if
Mhm.
he's done a really extensive contract with people, he will send a video crew over to them and make them a nice video.
Mhm.
And so what that does is it serves as a video testimony for him, and it gives the client something to put on their social media.
Oh, that's really cool.
So I thought that that was
Hmm.
neat. So if you have
Yeah.
if you have a business where you maybe generate thousands of dollars of revenue from, a smaller amount of customers, that could be a nice thing for you to do. You can also
Yeah.
just, even on our invoices, we have links to all our review websites. So when we send an invoice, we have links to the review sites if people want to leave one.
Hmm.
It's like,
Yeah.
here's where we're at. But, there's different places that you can, I guess, more passively or more directly solicit reviews. And I think it's good to do that on a regular basis because we want to
Yeah.
see recent reviews, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
Because
We've
that gives
definitely
us
been
idea.
doing that on Google with, seeing that Google makes it so easy with the link and everything, which we might talk about. But
Ooh, yeah.
but I might steal that idea as far as the videos because I have clients opening businesses, so like highlighting them that way would be awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I thought
Mhm.
that was a really interesting way to do it. And I'll have to see what his video examples look like. I meant to do that before this broadcast,
Mhm.
but yeah, like
Yeah.
I just thought it was interesting because people feel really daunted with that, and it gives them something where they're
Yeah.
talking about how you work together. So a video, if
Yeah.
I send a video crew over to you, Erica, about how we work together, that's something for you and that's something for me. But
Yeah.
mostly it's something for me if you're talking about
Right.
how our businesses work together.
Right. And, I would be totally remiss and not mentioning right now that the SBDC just started doing, we just started doing some video testimonials with clients too. So there's a new one up on our Facebook page too with an SBDC client business in
Oh,
the
nice.
North Country. So yeah. Mhm.
Cool. So yeah, get those positive or just reviews in general, however you can get them. And
Yeah.
I liked this like sort of, part of the I think, so Erica, she was sharing with me her presentation. I was like kind of thinking in my past of how we've handled stuff for clients. We do have a client we answer TripAdvisor reviews for. And it's really
Mm,
funny because there's a couple of things that they do that the customers don't like. And
mm.
it's the way that they price their stuff. So they have like sort of condiments that go and they charge for the individual condiments, and the clients don't like that. And so even though it says it and everything, every year there's a few reviews about they even charge for this. Like you can't believe it. And so we had some stock answers ready to go. And it was funny. I think somebody said, "Oh, they must have a PR firm working for them." And I remember I had it was me and one other employee at the time. We're like, "Ooh, we're a PR firm." But the idea with responding to a negative review is that like it's really easy to get emotional if it's about your
Mhm.
business. And I think part of the reason they have us respond for them is that we're outside of the situation. So immediately it's easier for us to respond, right?
Yeah, an
But
objective response. Mhm.
in general, like if it was an incident, it's really important before you respond to get the facts because maybe you weren't there as the business owner when it happened, and ask, hopefully you've created a culture with your employees where they can be really honest with you about what happened and what didn't happen. And
Mhm.
once you have all the facts and kind of cool down a little bit, I think responding in a timely way is good, but I don't think you have to respond
Ex
immediately because
Right,
like sometimes the adrenaline is going and you're
right.
not in the best place to do that. So,
Yeah, but I
being
think the fact finding is huge, a huge point here too, especially if you weren't there. And taking, again, at least take 3 deep breaths when you've seen something upsetting that somebody said. But yeah, the fact finding, if you have not been privy to the situation, is really important. And this just goes back as far as uh, um, training your employees in the first place, right, is extremely directly related to reputation management as far as what's happening. And if your employees are trained to handle customer, problems or complaints and to help you resolve the problem before it even gets to this point is, incredibly important. So.
And I know that there's mixed sort of ideas of like, well, if it's really negative, should I even respond? And I think it's important that you respond not necessarily for that negative person, but for the people who are watching.
Mhm.
And if you show some class and, so the idea is that, you're sympathetic, you apologize if there's something to apologize for. It could just be that, yeah, someone wants to complain that you charge for these condiments.
Yeah.
But, and that's the way you run your business and, whatever, it's fine.
Right.
And then, if you do, have some efforts to improve, that you communicate them also in that review. And I think there's some really good,
Right.
we have a resource I think that you found that we're going to link to later that has, I think some ideas in it about maybe how to respond, maybe even a script more specifically.
Yeah, like if something, is really, really not gone right. Like if you're in crisis mode over some situation, I think, hopefully this won't happen to anybody that we're talking to. But and just to go back to what we're talking about with regard to, customers, and this is all about exceptional customer service in the first place too, which includes the employee training and all those things. And really, when we're talking about how to respond to a negative review, it's just like that old adage, the customer's always right. You're acknowledging them, even though their complaint might not seem justified, right, in your eyes. It's not about saying, oh, but this or this, this is what happened. It's not going there. It's acknowledging and saying how you can do better the next time. And that's, part of managing reviews and exceptional customer service, always.
Right. And we've all seen those reviews online where like somebody leaves, I don't know, cafe, a terrible review. And then their owner responds and says, we want to just let everyone know what actually happened, which is that they came in with 8 people, they ordered 1 tea, and they sat at a table for 2 hours. And we asked them to move on so that we could serve our lunch customers. And, they left this review. It's okay. Like, I think we don't have to apologize for all behavior, but I think if we just show that we did our due diligence in finding out what happened and communicate that. And like I said, if there is a way to, improve that, maybe, I say, and just to make things more clear, we're going to post signs saying there's a 2-hour time limit at the tables or something like that.
Right.
But, it's one thing to have like to charge for ranch dressing. And it's another thing when an actual crisis occurs. I think this can be, addressing it quickly and authentically with, what happened and what reparations will occur. If you watch influencers get in trouble for stuff online, I love like the sort of online snark community generally. But what I really like, the problem that most of these people is that they create it for themselves and that they're not acknowledging something that is happening and that people see is happening. And so by them not acknowledging it upsets people because it's like they're lying about it.
Right.
When if they would just say, listen,
right.
I had, I'm going into rehab and I kind of went off on my fans on a 2-hour Instagram live stream because I have a drug problem and I need to address that, is a lot more honest than pretending that it never happened. When there's documented video evidence. Yeah, sure, you deleted the Instagram live rant, but someone recorded it and reposted it on YouTube. So, when a crisis occurs, rather than trying to get away from it, because that's the thing. I don't know why people lie about things that have been recorded or things that could be easily proved.
Yeah. It's like there's kind of proof there already.
I think it's a symbol of some kind of mental issue because it's the cognitive dissonance of like, I'm going to pretend nothing happened. And then it's
illusion.
Like nothing happened. Yeah. It's so weird. But anyway, I think, so if a crisis occurs in your business, and I know we had a client who had a crisis a couple of years ago. Yeah. There was, it involved, it was kind of around the Black Lives Matter situation. And there was, they were playing music at the restaurant that was rapping about police, and a police officer had come. It was a whole thing. And we had to spend probably 2 weeks helping them manage that online because of the steady stream of kind of feedback they were getting on it. And, according to the manager, it was a misunderstanding of a music choice. According to the cop, it was a blatant thing. But the reality was, we weren't there, and
Yeah.
all we could do was sort of communicate, send people to resources. I'm trying to think of what else happened. I think for a while they did like free slices for first responders on Fridays or something.
Yeah.
So it was something like that. I can't remember exactly what the reparations were, but we just had to be very consistent with how we responded to the comments and the reviews coming in. And it really was a crisis. Like I said, it wasn't charging for ranch. This was an actual kind of incident. And these things can happen even at small businesses that,
Yeah.
especially when things are charged, and situations are charged. So,
Right.
so just being authentic, responding quickly, and being as heartfelt as possible without it. Like if it doesn't
Yeah.
bother you, okay, well, that's one thing, I guess. But
Right. Exactly. Yeah. No, I think the transparency piece is really important.
And like I said,
even though it's scary, yeah.
And if you ever see people getting into trouble, like I said, things happen. And I think most of us, consumers understand that. It's when people lie about it or try to minimize it. I think it's best if you just like come out and just be honest.
Yeah. And I also think you could think about it this way too. Consider whose intelligence you're insulting if you're not telling the truth, and being transparent about things. Yeah.
Yeah.
It could very well be your best customers,
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and then another kind of look at reputation management, other than just waiting for reviews or generating reviews or reacting to something that's happened. The other thing is you can be a little bit more proactive about it by sort of posting content to a variety of websites about your business, so that when people are seeking you out, that there is kind of some information out there that you have that put out that's accurate, that's timely,
consistent.
Yeah. I was like, there's got to be something else that's important. That's the consistency.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about it more next month with SEO, but a lot of kind of sort of reputations of websites or businesses it's one thing if one person says something really good about you, and it's another thing when 100 people say that you're pretty good. There's some power in numbers and a variety of those. Your best friend like saying how great you are once a week and linking back to your business, like people will be able to see that and think, oh, what's up with this? But a variety of people, variety of websites, variety of information putting out there, just so that there's stuff that can be found about your business. And because I'm the internet person, right? I was like, I've seen these online reputation management tools, and I thought that I would look into them for this broadcast. Last time I looked at them, they're kind of expensive, $100 a month and up. It's so funny how some tools are like you can find for free or very inexpensively, and other tools it's like, automatically $100 and up. And so, there are all these online tools. And what they all seem to do, though, is almost have like a dashboard where they pull in information and show you a variety of, this is where people are talking about you, this is, and they allow you to kind of respond or maybe post social media content from that same kind of dashboard. And I think the reason that it's kind of all collected in one area is that it helps you kind of be organized, see what you've already responded to. And then maybe if you have multiple staff that are logging into and, okay, someone dealt with this comment. Okay, we're good. Like you can kind of see that. And so I thought I would I gave my email away and signed up for some free trials for you guys. Because, I love you that much. So one of them is, no, it's fine. It's part of the job. And so one of them, which I thought is called Social Mention. And what I think is interesting about this tool is it gives you sentiment, like positive, neutral, or negative sentiment. And what's really funny is for some reason, like this particular tool it's supposed to be searching blogs, microblogs, social media, and all that. It's pulling a bunch of photos from a Flickr account from when I opened the first Anchor Space. So that's why it's like, I'm like, oh, that's so weird that it thought that was really important. So that's why the top keywords are Anchor Space photos and opening, because it was the photos we took the opening day. So I'm like, okay, well, I guess I could do some advanced search preferences written in the world's tiniest font. Oh
Yeah.
my God. Can I just say that I've turned 40 this year and I feel so bad. All of my clients, over the years have told me, "Oh, Nicole, can you just bump up that font?" And now
Yeah.
I just really understand it because I'm like,
It was
yep.
40 for me too, and just getting
Oh,
progressively
man.
worse. I know. So
Yeah.
I actually just was able to expand and open up. And if you do use your fingers to expand, you can do this on this screen too if you need to. So.
Oh,
Mhm.
nice. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I can zoom in. So anyway,
Yeah.
social mention, you can search a term and it will pull in. I just typed in my name for fun. Look, it's searching from content around the universe.
Mhm.
So, okay, I didn't go to Berlin High School. By the way, there's like 1,000 Nicole Willettes. Like there is a ton. I know it doesn't sound like a common name,
That
but
doesn't seem possible. Yeah.
well, my grandfather had 26 brothers and sisters, and
What?
The French Catholics really, have a lot of kids. So
Huh.
there's a lot of us out
20.
there. Yeah. So even I can't even name all my second cousins. So, you know,
Mm.
so yeah, there's a ton, and I think there's even multiple. So these are multiple Nicole Willettes here, as you see. I don't work for Durham Tourism, so some of these are. If I wanted to, I could, just like you can with Google searches with all of these tools, I could. It's searching, I think, for Nicole and Willette. So we can put these together, and we can add. I don't know what's. Like there might be ways to sort of like get the results down to like what your things are. Okay.
Right.
I guess I tried to get too specific. It did not like that.
Yeah.
It did not like that. And then I signed up for BuzzSumo. What was funny with BuzzSumo is I was doing some pre-research this weekend before this broadcast. And I guess it lets you do a certain amount of searches. And then it's like, oh, sorry, you have to sign up for a free account now.
Yeah,
So I
well
have
done.
a 30-day free trial with this one. And so what I did here is I typed in Anchor Space, and what it's doing is it's pulling in all the places that it's mentioned. So it's pulling in some YouTube. It's pulling in the archives from my email newsletter, which I think is interesting. Because if you think about it, every email newsletter you send is archived on the internet too, in a link.
True.
So yeah, so more of the other websites, and it's telling me the engagement score and stuff like that. I can also, let's see if it'll let me. So now I'm searching Anchor Space on YouTube. And as you see here, this is so funny because I have like, I don't know, probably 25 videos on this channel. I don't know why it's only pulling in 3. I'll have to check and see how I've tagged things, but yeah. So
wow, it pulls them, ton of
it kind of pulls them together, and I think it would let me and I can filter them by language and whatever. I can check my backlinks. I can discover trending topics I can take part of. So the idea with these tools that you pay for is like I said, it's like a dashboard that pulls in all the information that lets you respond. But I want to let people know that you actually don't need, you don't need a dashboard to do any of this. You can do this without a dashboard. So I'll just put on the screen for a second here, just in case anyone's interested what some of these tools are, what they're called. So if you want to look into them, you can. But they, and they have varying degrees of functionality, obviously, but a lot of them do have this sort of interface where it pulls in the information and you can search for things and also create alerts. So I could, create an alert for managing things. But here's the thing though, is you can also create an alert on Google for free. So I just thought I thought we could create one together. So these are the alerts I'm monitoring. But I can also type in my own. So if I type in Anchor Space and I hit enter, come on. It was, there we go. I was like, I wanted it to do the alert preview. The thing with Anchor Space is that it's another word for, those end caps on the mall that have the really big stores. That's called an Anchor Space. So when I used Anchor Space for the name of my business, I just knew it was a sort of industry term for this very specific part of a mall. And I thought, malls kind of so, and it's also an obscure billiard term as well. So I felt okay like using the term for my co-working space. But let's
Right.
say it's bringing me up all these results about, filling empty retail buildings in Colorado Springs. Yeah, that's the kind of anchor space that we're not talking about here. So what I'm
Yeah.
going to do is add co-working to this. And as we see here, now I'm seeing all the stuff about anchor
So
space
about
co-working.
you. Yeah.
So what I can do here is I can show options and I can create an alert for this specific set of terms. So let me actually zoom this in because
Yeah, and I would say with a Google search that this actually should be something that any business should be doing, right? Like this
oh
is
yeah,
you're gonna want to know. This is a really good way to know if anybody's talking about you. Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
you go to google.com/alerts and you're typing the thing you want and you can say how often do you want to get it. You can either get it as it happens once a day or once a week. So once a day is probably fine. Sources can be automatic or I can pick certain kinds of sources. Automatic is fine. But if I wanted to also add other whatever, let's just say I wanted to add all of them. Okay. English, any region, how many, only the best results or all results, and deliver to, and then the email, and then create alert. There it is. So
Yeah.
you can also, if you don't want to get it to your email, you can also create RSS alerts. So if you use RSS readers, you can create an alert that way too. If that's
what are RSS readers? Are they?
RSS is stands for Real Simple Syndication, and it's idea that basically you can kind of keep up with a lot of websites if you have a reader, an RSS reader. Maybe we can do that as a topic sometime because they're really interesting. I feel like it's one of those underappreciated tools that we have on the internet.
Yeah, let's do that. I want to know more about it. Yeah.
All right.
We hear about it, but then
well, it's like, I'm sure, and I'll show you, I'll see if I can find the icon while we're hanging out here. But once you see that, you're like, oh, I've seen that icon before. I didn't know what that meant. And so, but yeah, we can do a whole broadcast on RSS readers for sure.
Yeah.
But
just to go back to what you're saying, I think some of those tools that you found online can be, and so you could actually go into those tools and like search for reviews for a certain business, right? And see if things will pull in that way too for your dashboard. But I would say, just like you're talking about, like, unless you're, a restaurant again, or somebody that's really trying to manage all kinds of reviews that could be flying out, all over the place about your business that, you can probably manage online reviews and that kind of thing through Google. And would you agree that, it's maybe for certain businesses?
Oh, definitely. I could see, like, I have a client who owns like a group of 6 restaurants. I could see her using a kind of tool like this with her managers.
Right.
So that they just knew what was going on and were able to be responsive as a group. But in terms of like the average small business, I feel like we can keep up with this generally. At least I feel like I'm able to keep up with it. And I get easily overwhelmed by information. So, the other thing I would suggest you doing is searching hashtags because it could be potentially buried in social media content. And I'll give you an example. I found 2 things that I didn't know existed until this broadcast because I wasn't paying attention to my hashtags. So I just searched hashtag anchor space. Let me just zoom in here. Tiny font.
Just on Google or certain social media?
This is just like on different social media platforms that basically they all have hashtags, right? So you can search for the hashtag that you have of your business. So as you see, remember I told you an anchor space. These are actual anchor spaces like in malls and things. But if we scroll just for like 5 seconds, 1 second, I scroll and I was like, oh, someone, did me as their business of the month and they tweeted about it.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, oh, that would have been nice for me to notice when that happened last year. That would have been a nice thing for me to notice. And also like the woman who set up my QuickBooks tweeted about me years ago, literally years ago. Here it is. Bar Harbor peeps, check out Anchor Space. They might change your life. Like, oh, I'm sorry, Stacy, that you did this in 2015 and I never noticed on the off chance you're watching this. Anyway, guilty of not keeping up with all because people will mention your business and notice how she didn't at Anchor Space. So I didn't see, it didn't bring it to my attention, but she used a hashtag. So, and it was easy.
Exactly. So it's different. Yeah.
And as you see, that was all of 30 seconds of scrolling for me to see that. So go on the different social media sites and like put in the hashtag that, you typically use when you do your business promotions or things like that, and see if anything comes up. People might be talking about you that you're not even aware of.
Yeah.
But I would say that, between the alerts, from the review websites, like you went and you claim them all with your email. So you're getting email notifications when you get a new review. You have your Google alert set up, and you periodically check the hashtags on different social media sites. I think you'd have a really good idea of what was going on with your online reputation between all those things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And I know that, you found a good resource about crisis management. And so we'll throw that on the screen here in case you want to go check that out. It's a PDF download. Is it that what this is?
Yeah, I think it does require a download to get the whole document. So that might not be, but it's supposed to be. So yeah.
Whatever. I mean, like I said, the currency usually for something free is your email address, right? So
yeah,
I mean, you could download
content without having to download, but yeah.
Well, and the thing is too, you can always unsubscribe from their email updates. You can subscribe, get the thing, and then you can unsubscribe from their emails once you get.
Yeah, if you're in crisis mode, it might be worth it to take a look.
And rather than wait, it might be worthwhile to just download it and kind of read it and say, okay, when this happens, I'll know how to deal with it.
Yeah, even better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about online, I guess, reputation management in general.
I think one of the big messages here too is proactiveness. And just know that paying attention, training your employees, making sure they understand how important it is to you and your business, your reputation out there, and what they can do, right, to help as far as how they're treating your customers in the first place, but also how they can help online or, really to use your team to help manage your business's reputation, I think is really important. And then again, just that proactiveness, and whether it's online or otherwise, to make sure that you're paying attention to what is going on out there, and that you're also creating, by asking for positive reviews or that kind of thing, creating a situation where you're doing as much as you can, especially online these days, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a lot of, like I said, tools at our disposal that allow us to understand what this information is, and like I said, if we periodically check them, we can be responsive to them as well. And there might be I'm trying to think if there is a way, and I think there is probably a way to get notifications when people use a certain hashtag. I should have remembering this. I'm like, geez, I should have looked that up before this broadcast, but I'm sure that there is a way that you can subscribe to these different hashtags on different social media sites, like Instagram and LinkedIn and things like that. And I'm
definitely going to go check some hashtags on LinkedIn.
Yeah, right. I mean, that's the thing is, I was like, oh, I'm going to show them this example, and then I saw those two things that I didn't even notice, and I was like, oh,
perfect example. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So just know that even those of us who do this all day don't necessarily get it right every single time. So all we can do is just, we just keep doing better. That's all we can do. So,
right.
But yeah. All right. Anything else, Erica, before we sign off for the day?
No, I'll just tell people just quickly, one quick update is this Wednesday at noon. We do have another safety webinar coming up and with Kurt Callahan, and it's actually on HIPAA. So, and that's, we think of the HIPAA regulations and rules and everything as, being related to healthcare providers and the healthcare system and everything. But really, it's really important for employers and their customers and everything to know about the HIPAA regulations and that kind of thing as it relates to HR and, customers and clients too. So we've got that coming up Wednesday at noon. It'll be live on Facebook too. And otherwise, I think that's it.
Awesome. Well, thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll see you next week for another Marketing Monday and about search engine stuff. And please share this with a friend or somebody you think might get a kick out of it. And if you've missed any past episodes, you can scroll back in time onto Facebook or on the YouTube channel, where we'll have things organized into playlists momentarily. So thanks for watching, and see you next week, Erica.
Yeah, you too, Nicole. Thanks.
Bye all.
Bye.